Japan is just one of those countries that has 4 magical seasons. What that means for you as a traveler is that you can go all year round and have a really unique experience. But today I want to talk to you about why I think winter is the season that you should be considering. It's so underrated. I mean, you get much fewer international travelers around that time of year. That comes with much cheaper flights as well. But most importantly, the cold frigid months of winter come with a whole host of unique winter festivals. These all take place in the northern parts of Japan where the climate is much colder. I think they're really worth going. Some of these festivals you may have heard of, some you may not have, but I'm going to list 5 of the ones that I think you should know for your next winter trips to Japan. We're also adding a little tip for each of the festival if you decide to go, and also how to get to the event, because some of these aren't the easiest to reach. At the very end of the video, I'm also going to run through a 2-week itinerary of how you can see all 5 winter festivals in one trip. Let's kick off the list with the most famous winter festival of them all, the Sapporo Snow Festival. If you haven't checked out our last video, I'll link that up here. That's an in-depth guide into what the Sapporo Snow Festival is, its history, when it's happening, what happens throughout the event. So it's a really useful guide for you if you're interested in going to the Sapporo Snow Festival. But I'll do a quick rundown right now. It's basically Japan's most famous winter festival. It's located up in the capital of Hokkaido, Sapporo. And throughout the event, you'll get to see lots of amazing snow and ice sculptures, and they'll put on family-friendly fun activities as well. My tip for the Sapporo Snow Festival is remember that there are 3 venues to this event. There's the Odori Park venue with the snow sculptures, we have the Susukino venue with the ice sculptures, and then you have the Sudome venue, which has the massive snow slides and other fun activities there as well. I really recommend you visit all 3 venues if you have the time, because all 3 of them are unique in their own ways and well worth going. Odori Park and Susukino are super simple to get to. Just take the underground and get off at Odori Station or Susukino Station. It's only really the 3rd venue, Sudome, which is a little bit trickier. So you take the underground to Sakai Machi Station, and from there it's a 15-minute walk, or you can take a shuttle bus. Second on the list is the Hirosaki Castle Snow Lantern Festival. Quite the mouthful. But Hirosaki is a small city located in the north of Japan's main island. It's a city that's most well known for its magical sakura season. You might have seen those pictures of those sakura tree branches and leaves that form into a heart shape. That's its biggest claim to fame. But in the winter, Hirosaki Castle Park transforms into a winter wonderland. There's around 150 snow lanterns to get built, and these all illuminate the park at night. They also build these mini snow igloos they call kamakuras, and they put little candles inside each one of them, and it just looks really magical. It's something that's well worth seeing. You also don't want to miss the illumination that happens outside of the castle park, just around the moat area. The trees and the frozen lake is illuminated in this cherry pink blossom color, and it's really a nod to its more famous sakura season, and it gives you a little taste of what it's like in spring too. My tip for you for the Hirosaki Castle Snow Lantern Festival is time your visit right around 4 PM when the sun starts to set. Really, that's when it turns into a magical place. When the snow lanterns are lit up, you see the illumination of the outside moat. The mini kamakuras are also lit up as well. To get to the Hirosaki Castle Snow Lantern Festival, you can either walk 30 minutes from the station. It's quite a nice walk. You'll see lots of people doing the walk themselves as well. But you can also catch a bus from the train station to Shiyakuyo-mai. That's the City Hall bus stop, and then 5 minutes walk from there. The next winter festival I think you should know about for your winter trip is the Namahage Sedo Festival. This is probably my favorite festival of the bunch. It's definitely the most unique as well. The best way for me to describe this festival is a combination of a 900-year-old Shinto ritual with an old local Japanese folklore. The Namahage are knife-wielding, demon-like ogres that come in the night and snatch naughty children away. This is an old folklore that originated in the small town of Oga. The adults there used to tell their kids this story if they were misbehaving. It's very similar to the story of the boogeyman. Isn't it interesting how completely different cultures around the world ended up with very similar ways to make sure their kids stayed well behaved. But back to the festival. For 3 days in February, you can visit Shinzan Shrine. That's where the festival is going to be held, and watch as the Namahage descend from the forest and wreak havoc on the townspeople. It's a super fun and interesting festival, and it's well worth going to. My tip for you for the Namahage Seda Festival is to arrive early. There's a show you can sit down and watch that explains who the Namahage are and what they do. There are no translations for this show, but I still understood the meaning behind Namahage and what they're all about. And it gives you a nice little background before the festival begins. This show is free and it's located just outside of the shrine area. To reach Shinzan Shrine, the easiest way to do it is to drive. There's lots of parking spaces and it's really simple to drive there from Oga Town. But if you don't feel like renting a car to drive, you can take a shuttle bus. This departs from Oga train station, but these are limited spaces only. So you either need to rock up a little bit earlier to make sure you can grab a ticket for the shuttle bus, or you can reserve online as well. Moving on to the fourth festival of winter, the Hiburi Kamakura. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever swung a scorching fireball whilst out in the heavy snow? No? Well, if you want to give it a go, this is your opportunity to do so. Every year on February the 14th, in the samurai town of Kakuno Date, you can see this magical spectacle. The locals there wrap coal in these straw sacks known as hiburi, set them alight and then swing it around themselves. I had a go myself. It's a crazy thing to do. Why do they do this for winter? Well, it's because they believe it's a purification process. The fire and smoke purifies them of evil and bad luck and bad energy for the new year ahead. As I mentioned, you can give it a go yourself as well. Visitors are encouraged to take part, but if you don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine. The festival is such a unique spectacle, you'll still enjoy it if you're just watching. My tip for you for the Hiburi Kamakura is how to do it safely. Basically, when you swing the hiburi around, you want to swing it with enough momentum that it is away from your body. Go into it with commitment, with conviction. It's not that the fireball would touch you or anything like that. It's very difficult for that to happen. It's more that because it's closer to you, the smoke might get into your eyes. So you really want to swing it around, and when you feel like it's about done, just release it and let it fall into the snow and it will put itself out. The festival organizers are there as well. They teach you how to do it. They're the ones that do the burning and they can start off the swing for you as well. So you're in safe hands. So the Hiburi Kamakura happens all over Kakuno Date, but there's one main area where they kind of congregate, and that's by the riverside. You'll want to walk to Furushiro Bridge, which takes about 30 minutes from the train station. If you don't want to walk, you can also catch a bus as well. The last festival I'm going to cover today is the Yokote Kamakura Festival. Another one of those that's pretty well known, but I think for a lot of people, they've probably seen images of this festival, but perhaps didn't know what it was called or where it was based. But the festival itself has about 500 years of history, and what makes it unique compared to the rest of them is these massive kamakuras that pop up all around the city. These huge kamakuras are built around altars that are dedicated to the water deity. So around this time of year, people go inside the kamakuras and pray to the altars for good water and weather for their harvest. Later in the evening, you'll find children sitting inside these kamakuras. They'll invite you inside and serve you grilled mochi and amakaze, which is a sweet, non-alcoholic rice wine. My tip for you for the Yokote Kamakura Festival is don't miss out on the other areas of the festival. By the riverbank and the local school, you'll find thousands of small kamakuras. It's quite impressive how many there actually are, and all of these are candlelit as well. So again, you want to visit this festival towards the evening to really get the most out of it. The whole festival is located inside the city of Yokote. You can easily walk around and visit the different areas of the festival, but there's also a shuttle bus. A shuttle bus that operates around the city as well. Okay, so let's get on to the last part, a 2-week itinerary that covers all 5 festivals we just talked about. A quick disclaimer on the itinerary, these are based on 2024 dates. So if the festival dates change in later years, the itinerary might not work so perfectly, but it still gives you a good understanding of how you can navigate between each of these areas quickly. Okay, so the itinerary starts in Tokyo, and I've chosen Tokyo because that's where most people are flying into. It's got the biggest major international airport in Japan, and lots of people want to visit Tokyo. But you can choose to start from other places as well. Alternative might be Osaka, and it's a good alternative if you want to explore Osaka instead of Tokyo, or if you find cheaper flights to Osaka. Which you start off with, it doesn't really matter. So you'll spend a couple of days in Tokyo or Osaka if that's what you've chosen, and then fly to Sapporo, where you'll spend another 2 days. 2 days is definitely enough to experience the whole of the Sapporo Snow Festival. It isn't quite enough for you to do other things around Sapporo though. So if you did want to journey outside of Sapporo, then you need to add perhaps another day or 2 there. After Sapporo, we then opted to travel down to Hakodate to take a ferry over to Aomori before traveling over to Hirosaki. The main reason why we decided to do this because we wanted to travel by land. We didn't want to deal with checking in luggage and all of that again. So this was like a really nice way to do it. It also gave us the opportunity to explore Hakodate, which is an area we were recommended by Visit Japan UK. Definitely worth visiting Hakodate if you have the time. It's a really unique place that's going to mesh between Western and Japanese culture. But if you don't want to do that, you can fly from Sapporo straight to Aomori and from there go to Hirosaki. That will give you a bit more time because you're saving on the travel time it takes to go to Hakodate and then the ferry from Hakodate to Aomori. And instead what you could use those days for is perhaps explore nearby areas around Sapporo or even explore Aomori. So we arrived in Hirosaki pretty late at night. So the following day, we then enjoyed the Hirosaki Castle Snow Lantern Festival. That took us the entire day because we wanted to go see it during the day and in the evening. With hindsight, I recommend most people just go around sunset to the evening. You'll get the most out of the festival. You can then use the morning to explore Hirosaki City as well. There's a really amazing cafe actually. I'll pop up the name because I've forgotten what it's called at the top of my head right now. But it's a really, really cute and charming cafe. You can enjoy an apple pie there. The coffee's amazing there as well. So check it out. And then from Hirosaki, we took a train straight down to Akita and we stayed there for the next 4 nights. We used this as a base to explore Oga for the Namahage Sedo Festival and Kakuno Date for the Hiburi Kamakura Festival. So it's quite convenient to travel to both locations from Akita. You can also stay in Akita and travel out to the Yokote Kamakura Festival as well. But we decided not to do that because we knew we wanted to stay quite late to see everything illuminated at night. And the trains don't run that late at night there. So if you did want to stay a little bit later in the evening, you need to book a night stay in Yokote, which is, to be honest, really difficult because it gets fully booked very quickly. We couldn't book a night stay in Yokote, so we booked in a neighboring small town called Omogari, which is about 30 minutes train to Yokote, and those trains ran a little bit later in the evening, so that worked out quite well for us. Omogari is also cheaper to stay at than Yokote as well, but of course it's not quite as convenient as staying in the city the festival was held at. And then from Omogari, if you decide to go there, or Yokote, travel back to Akita, and from Akita you can fly back to Tokyo or Osaka. So the whole itinerary takes about 2 weeks, and it's definitely one I recommend people go and do for themselves. It's such a great way to enjoy Japan during the winter. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed that one. If you have any questions about any of the festivals, let us know in the comments section. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think about traveling to Japan during the winter. Is it something you've been thinking about, or is it perhaps a season you've never even considered but might be doing so now? But yeah, for now, I'll see you guys in the next one.